All right, hi again. Welcome back. Attorney Steve Vondran. Welcome back to another exciting video here. Okay, so we are talking about some breaking news, the high cost of education, and what's being termed one of the largest admission cheating scandals in United States history. So this is a massive, I mean, it's, you can't make this stuff up, and when they say truth is stranger than fiction, they mean it. This case is all about that. It's crazy. I have hot off the press, at least off my printer, 204 pages of affidavit from an F.B.I. criminal investigator. I think her name is Laura Smith, a field officer in the Boston office. An amazing, detailed affidavit of what they allege went criminally wrong in this case of trying to get your kids into the schools they want. Everybody wants to get in these great schools over here. Sometimes they don't want to pay for it. Sometimes they want to work their way to the front of the line. So this is a massive investigation undertaken by the FBI. There's all kinds of people being called out. There's coaches, there's athletic administrators, there's administrators from these testing companies. It's just there's a couple stars in there. Felicity Huffman is in here, so we're going to talk about that. It's just a big thing. So this is going to be a little longer than normal, but there's a lot of stuff in here. And I'm going to go a little bit into reading you actual excerpts from the affidavit here. So this is an affidavit used in support of a criminal action. So this is basically a report that says, I believe there's probable cause to prosecute, and here's why. Okay, now I'm not a criminal defense attorney. We are a civil litigation attorney here. Again, if you feel that you were somehow cheated or snubbed, it's not going to be easy to prove these cases, but if you have a set of facts where you feel somehow you were snubbed by somebody over here cheating and trying to work the system, working their contacts and doing all these things, give us a call. We're willing to hear the case. Again, we know it's not going to be easy to prove these cases, but some people have been cheated. I don't think there's any question. And whenever you put favoritism above, a fair process, obviously some people are going to be cheated in that process. So if you got some time, hang on. If you don't have some time, bookmark this, come back and watch it when you have some time to kill. But I'm going to tell you what some of my findings that I read here, and they're mostly due from Ms. Smith's excellent supporting report here. So, without further ado, let's head to the Attorney Steve litigation whiteboard. Here we are again. Okay, let me get my, I think we're going to use my trusty yardstick on this case. So, but here's what we're looking at in this case, okay? And again, I should caution everybody in advance. Everybody is presumed innocent unless and until they are proven guilty in a court of law. That's just the way it goes. It's a good rule. If you were in somebody's shoes being falsely accused, you would want the same protection. So let's bear that in mind. At any rate, here's what we're looking at. We have some parents here. We have their kids. It could be one or more. We have their parents that want to get them into one of their dream schools over here. And I just listed some of the schools. Everybody knows them. U.S.C, UCLA, Stanford, Yale, Georgetown, U.C. San Diego, Wake Forest, University of Texas, some of the great schools. And, there's certain standards. Everybody knows you have these two tests here. You have the SAT, you have the ACT. You have these two tests. Me personally, I took the ACT way back in the good old days, and a lot of people take the SAT. So this video, is going to talk a little bit about what's going on here. So you have these kids that have to take these tough tests to get into these schools. The test is considered to be a material part of the admissions process. This is one of the main factors they looked at. What are your college grades? What did you get on your SATs or ACTs? What types of leadership positions have you held? Are you into athletics? Do you do anything athletic that could benefit the university? And do you do things, can you add some diversity and some things to the school to make it a better place? So everybody wants to get in these great schools. Why? Because you get the great sweatshirt that says Georgetown on it, and it just looks great walking down the street. But not everybody's set out to be for Georgetown. Not everyone is capable of going to UCLA, which is a school my sister and her husband graduated from, great institution. So there's companies that can try to fill the void, and that's what we have here. We have a company called The Edge, College Counseling Company. So they're a company that says, look, we're going to help get your kids into that college of their dreams. You're going to get the sweatshirts, the hats, the stickers, everything is going to be great. We can get you in. Parents say, well, that's great. Just what I need, a little extra something to get us there and make sure we get in, because, what the allegations refer to is a lot of wealthy people, CEOs. There was one lawyer involved that, they have money. They want to get their kids into that next level, and they don't want to gamble. They don't want to go through the same process everyone else does. So that's what we have here. So The Edge was a college counseling company in Newport Beach, California, where we have an office. And then we had this KWF, which was their, I forget what that was called, something Worldwide Foundation. It was a 501c3 nonprofit, also allegedly headquartered in Newport Beach, California. So it was attracting, somehow they got the word out as early as 2011, started talking to parents. Parents are talking to them. And they're getting kids into college. They're having a success rate. They brought in over $25 million. So they're doing very well. Word's traveling out. So the question is, how much does it cost? And what do you guys do, right? Isn't that the question? So what they would offer is a service anywhere from $15,000 to $75,000. It depended, according to some of the things that I read, on what your needs were. What college did you want to go to? What are we looking at here? So the rates would vary, but the scheme, as alleged, goes something like this. The parents give money to the college company for their consulting services, and the consulting company also had some testing centers that it owned. They had one in Houston, Texas, and one in West Hollywood, California. So you would pay them the money, and they would basically counsel you. One of the big things that they wanted to do, let me get my pen here so we can check these off. I like to check off things as we go. That's how I do's it. First thing, get you 100% extra time. Okay, well, what does that mean? So when you take these tests, if you've taken these tough tests, SAT, ACT, bar exam, anything, you're given a certain amount of time. And let's say in the case of these, you're given 1 day, let's say, okay? So they're giving you this certain time frame to complete the test. What they encourage you to do is to get the extra time and to go to a psychologist. Let me draw it there, a psychologist. And they were asking them to kind of dummy down their kids a little bit and just, dummy it down and just, have them go in and not act so smart, slow it down a little so that we can get them the credentials that you need to get extra time on the exam. Now, a lot of people don't know, a lot of, common folk, let's say, don't know much about this and all the options available in life. But this is something that people do. Sometimes obviously legitimate. If you have learning disabilities, learning disorders, ADD, learning problems, there may be very, very, very valid reasons why you would need to get extra time to do your exam. So there is a legitimate process for that. However, when you're telling people to go in and dummy it down and try to fool the psychologist, and the psychologist is going to write a report, it's just, so, but point one of their scheme was to try to get that extra time to take your exam. And the extra time, when I say 100% extra time, that would take it, this pen is horrible. Put it out in the heap. So what they wanted to get was 2 days. Okay, so if you got 2 days of time, then they could work a little bit more here. And what would happen is they would get the 2 days time, and then they would try to get you set up over here at one of their, what they called controlled testing centers, because it's controlled by them apparently, in Houston or West Hollywood. And that created a little bit of a problem. There was one named defendant that was from Greenwich, Connecticut, a real wealthy area of the country out there. And they were saying, well, isn't it going to look funny if my kids are out there testing in California? And they're like, nah, don't worry. Just tell them it's a bar mitzvah or a wedding or something. We do it all the time. Don't worry. It's easy. And I'm going to read you some excerpts here from the Felicity Huffman case and the Lori Loughlin and Mossimo Gianulli case. So I'm going to read you a couple excerpts. If you want to stay tuned and listen to the whole thing, that's up to you. If you just want to get the general scheme, this is the general alleged scheme here, okay? So they would have these testing centers. They would have a proctor, basically, who was essentially bribed, and the proctor would help people cheat through a variety of methods. The proctor may say, well, let me help you during the course of the exam. Here, I can help you. We got 2 days to hang out together here. We got extra time. We want to make sure you do well. That was one way. But the one that I found fascinating was, from what I was able to gather, is they would have people fill out, they would have them fill out their answers to the questions, and then they would transfer it over into the bubble sheet. And they said, well, we'll transfer it to make sure that there's no, that your answers are actually going to the boards here, and so in the transfer process, the person would put the right answers. So they might take your exam for you. They might proctor and help you. They may change it during this little bubble changing while they're going through that. And they were even asking for handwriting samples and trying to copy handwriting. These are the allegations. And it's pretty wild. The one handwriting that I saw in here, in fact, I don't know if I can pull it up for you. I'll see if I can pull it up here in a second. But one of the handwritings were just, I was like, how do you trick the test taker on that? I mean, you really have to go and copy that. Anyway, I'll see if I can find it for you. But so anyway, so you would get your extra time. You would go over here to the controlled testing centers. This person would help you cheat one way or the other, help you cheat, get the scores you're looking for. If you needed a 35 on the SAT, the SAT I think goes to 1600. The ACT like 36. So if you needed a 35 or a 36, they would get you that. If you did testing prep and before you did this, you were doing testing prep at a prep center and you were scoring like 25s, they would talk amongst themselves and say, well, we don't want to get a 35. That'll look too high. And the owners of this company are going, well, they're not going to care. That'll look good on them. They'll look like they're successful. It's not going to be a big deal. Everyone's happy here as long as nobody's talking, right? So that was kind of the scheme. And you would have these guaranteed scores. We're going to get you this. We're going to get you that. Again, buy your sweatshirts. That's what I call the high price of education. That's just kind of a joke. And then this was the topper though for me, creating fake athletic profiles. So this is how all the coaches got involved, is they started creating these fake athletic profiles for some of the students. Now, most of you probably know that there are usually exceptions for athletes where you can actually get into a college with a lower score than would maybe somebody else have to give. And that's because, a couple reasons, I think. And that's debatable, by the way. Is that a fair process? I don't know. I'll leave that for another day. But athletes spend most of their time developing their skills out in the field, in the weight room, cross country, rowing, all these things. And so there are certain exceptions given to the athletic department. So they can admit certain students that might not have the perfect qualifications. But what these guys were doing, the edge over here, they were working, and they must have had some connections in place with some athletic departments, coaches, whatnot. And let me get over here. I feel like I'm getting out of the screen here. So they had some connections over here with the coaches and things and whatnot. And what they would do is they would doctor up these profiles saying that, well, this person is in the athletic rowing. They are a great rower, a coxswain, I think they called it, a coxswain. And forgive me, I didn't make up the word. But they said they're in the crew coxswain, and they're going to be they've been a great rower. Or there was another one where the guy that owned this was running this operation said something like, your son's going to be a field goal kicker, and I'm going to, I know a guy that runs a field goal kicking camp, and you're going to be the field goal kicker. And the parents like, oh, sounds good to me. I'll send you a picture here. So what was happening is they were doctoring up photos. photoshopping. Where was the one? I think I have it over here. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to get that for you. Hang tight if I can get it here real quick. I will. If not, I will move on. Ah, boy, where did you go? All right, I'm going to have to pause this tape and get that for you in a second. But there was one where they would find a picture of somebody online. I think in this case it was a pole vaulter. He was pole vaulting over something, and they scrubbed out the guy's face and would put in the face of one of these kids, you know, pole vaulting over the thing. I mean, it's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Like I said, I mean, you know, this is, you know, this will probably be on American Greed someday, I'm pretty sure. But at any rate, that was the scheme. Now, the final piece of the scheme was you would donate money to, because how are you going to get these paid? The people paid, the coaches paid, the administrators paid. How do you get them paid? You can't just write them a check from the parents. It looks like bribery, right? You can't do that. So this is what the KWF, nonprofit, 501c, this was for profit, this was nonprofit. So that's what this was created for. So the parents would then be asked to give charitable donations to the 501c3. The 501c3, however it did it, would then pay out. I don't know under what name or how they worked that, but they were set up to be, I think it was a nonprofit for disadvantaged kids or something, so under the guise of something like that. So at any rate, that was the setup. That's kind of how this thing worked. A couple famous people got caught up into it. We had 30 parents and 9 coaches were charged. 30 parents and 9 coaches. We had Felicity Huffman. She was charged $250,000 signature bond. Now, I looked that up and I said, well, is she out on bond? And it said, no, she was out on a signature bond. And so I looked that up, and signature bond is basically where you get let out on your own word and you turn in your passport. That was something new that, I don't do criminal law, so I wasn't familiar with that, but a little legal tidbit here. The charges looked like conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. That was a new one for me. I was like, honest services mail fraud, and I looked it up, and again, I'm not a criminal lawyer, so I couldn't really tell you, but something to do with not getting services you legitimately thought I don't even want to try it. You had Lori Loughlin and Mossimo Gianulli. She's an actress. He's a fashion guru kind of guy, and their kid got in what they called the crew team. So one of their kids apparently got into SC on the crew team, what they called the side door. The side door. Okay, so that's how that worked. Again, 2 of these administrators were charged with these testing companies. So a big mess, as you can see, just like my whiteboard, a big mess. And so obviously people are getting admitted with subpar scores. Some great students that deserve to have these great slots, not getting their chance, not getting their chance to go to UCLA or University of Texas, Yale. And so, but you ask sometimes, well, what are the damages? So you didn't get into Stanford, you got into Vanderbilt. What are the damages? Well, Stanford's a little bit higher. Vanderbilt's down. What are the damages? A little bit difficult to quantify. I'm not exactly sure. But like I said, in the right case, there might be a right set of facts that make sense from civil litigation standpoint. But that's basically what you have. So this was the scheme. Now I'm going to go ahead and read you some excerpts here and see if I can get you this picture. So hang on tight. Bear with me. If you've come this far, you're probably interested. You'd probably like to hear a little bit more. And so I'm going to see if I can get you some of the good stuff. So a lot of defendants were charged in this. And the FBI, what'd they name it? Operation Varsity Blues, they called it. Operation Varsity Blues. And this was part of a detailed investigation, search warrants, wiretaps. They had some cooperating witnesses, people that cooperated. Obviously, usually when there's a scam, you want to cooperate first, you get the best deal. That's what my friend DUI Daryl used to tell me, one of the best criminal attorneys I ever met. The first one in gets the best deal. So when you're involved, and again, this is not legal advice. This video is legal information only. But let me have a seat here. Now, hold on one second. Let's see if I can find what we're looking for. All right, you still there? Okay, so here are some excerpts from the Felicity Huffman. I'm going to need my glasses. All right, got them here. Bear with me here. So, all right, defendant Felicity Huffman. So, it says she had 2 daughters. And when I say CW1, that's a cooperating witness. So it says cooperating witness has advised law enforcement agents that prior to December 2017, SAT CW1 met with Huffman and her spouse in their Los Angeles home and explained in substance how the college entrance exam scheme worked. That's the entrance exam scheme. According to CW1, the cooperating witness, he advised Huffman and her spouse that he controlled a testing center and could arrange for a third party to purport to proctor their doctor's SAT and secretly correct her answers afterwards. CW1 has advised investigators that Huffman and her spouse agreed to the plan. In or about the summer of 2017, Huffman and CW1 exchanged multiple emails about how to obtain 100% extra time on the SAT. That's what we're talking about. Trying to get that magical 2 days. I wish I had 4 days on the bar exam. I mean, I'm sure I could have done even better. I mean, you know, anyway, I'm not going to digress into that. So, on or about October 16, 2017, Huffman's older daughter received a letter from the college board advising her that she had been approved for the 100% extended time. So the college board over here approved the extra time. So she got her extra time. The high school, Huffman forwarded the email to CW1 and a counselor at Huffman's daughter's high school with the note, "Hooray, she got it." So she got her extra time. The high school counselor wrote back to Huffman the next day stating, "Now you will register your daughter for the December 3rd SAT. College board considers double time a school-based exam." So our high school is the test center. So they're saying the high school she went is a test center, and I will proctor the test on December 4th and 5th, and that's the process in a nutshell. Huffman forwarded the email to CW1 with the note, "Ruh-roh, looks like my daughter's high school wants to provide own proctor." CW1 responded, "We will speak about it." In subsequent emails, CW1 and Huffman agreed to tell the high school counselor that Huffman's daughter would take the SAT at a different location on December 2nd and 3rd, a Saturday and a Sunday, so that she would not miss any school. Very, very good. In or about late October 2017, Doversky completed paperwork to move Huffman's daughter exam from her own high school to the West Hollywood Test Center. Have that up there. ETS records reflect that in calls to ETS, Huffman and the high school counselor confirmed that the location for Huffman's daughter's SAT had been switched to the West Hollywood Test Center. So there's the switch. You get the new test center on or about December 1st, 2017, CW2, that's the proctor. Flew from Tampa to Los Angeles. CW2 advised investigators that each time he was in Los Angeles to proctor an SAT or ACT, he facilitated cheating, either by correcting the student's answers after the test or by actively assisting the student during the exam. Can you imagine, you college students out there, can you imagine being assisted by the proctor during the test? Wow, that's amazing. But that was one of the benefits of getting the 100% extra time, is that you get to have, instead of taking your test with everybody else, you can take it individually. So this was, this was a big bonus to be able to get that. Like when I took the bar exam, I think there were several thousand people in the room, and you have to contend with that, and the pressure of that, and the pressure of everybody typing and, going at it, and nobody's taking bathroom breaks. You're going like, oh my God, nobody's taking a break. There's a lot of pressure, but when you get the 100% extra time, it's a more, relaxed environment due to the learning disabilities. That's how it goes, folks. So on or about then, so the proctor's telling you what he did. Ultimately, Huffman's daughter received a score of 1420 on the SAT, improvement of approximately 400 points over her PSAT. So she had scored over 400 points as she did just 1 year earlier. So it's a lot of points to pick up, and you can speculate as to whether that makes the difference to get in or not. You can speculate on that. On or about December 19th, 2017, KWF paid Dvorsky $40,000 for administering the SAT to Huffman's daughter and to 3 other students. So the cheating proctor got $40,000. Nice payday. That's a good. Whew, that's a big day's work. Especially, never mind. On or about December 27, 2017, KWF, our nonprofit up there, paid CW2 $35,000 for purporting to proctor the exam for Huffman's daughter. Blah blah blah. So this is kind of what you're looking at. There's some dialogue here, what they call consensually recorded phone calls, where they tell her, okay, great, I just want to let you know the guy who took the test for your older daughter, CW2, Huffman says, yeah, he just had a baby. Huffman says, aw. CW1 says, so I need to give him at least 3 weeks notice if you want to take the test, want us to take the test for your younger daughter in December. So there was a whole thing about, maybe she works so well for the oldest daughter, might want to do this for the youngest daughter. Sounds pretty easy. She says, okay, so that takes us to like November something. Okay, I won't know until she takes that practice test of when we should take it. I mean, unless you want to play it safe and do it in March. So there's talk about, whether or not they're going to record or, set this date up. Eventually, for some who knows reason, they back out. They paid $15,000 for the daughter number 1, but they backed out, didn't want to do it on place number 2. And there's one section here where the spouse says yes. CW1 says, yeah, so I guess the question for both of you guys is, are we going to do this similarly that we did with your older daughter, where the younger daughter will take the test at the West Hollywood Test Center? Yeah, I think. The CW, I'm sorry. Yes, I think we are. Okay, same exact. So she'll take the test at the West Hollywood Test Center. CW2 will be the proctor. We will ensure that she will get a score that will be in the 14s or higher, because we want to achieve the schools we want to go to, correct? And the spouse says, we're talking about Georgetown places. So at any rate, they did the first one. They didn't want to do the second one. For some reason, they backed out on the second one. So, by the way, I also found this picture. This was the picture that was in the FBI investigators report. Let me see if I can get that closer for you. But this is an example how they were photoshopping, you see that? So putting someone else's face in there, claiming they were an athlete. So, this was really, really elaborate. I think it was a really elaborate scheme, and, a lot of people are getting caught up in this, and a lot of arrests, and we'll see what happens. We also had, as I mentioned, the Mossimo case. I have some quotes in here, what he says. As set forth below, the Gianullis, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Gianullis agreed to pay bribes totaling $500,000 in exchange for having their 2 daughters designated as recruits to the U.S.C. crew team, despite the fact they did not participate in crew, thereby facilitating their admission to U.S.C. On or about April 22nd, 2016, Gianelli, copying Loughlin, sent an email to CW1 noting, we just met with our older daughter's college counselor this AM. I'd like to maybe sit with you after your session with the girls, as I have some concerns and want to fully understand the game plan and make sure we have a roadmap for success as it relates to our daughter and getting her into a school other than ASU. Did you catch that? Hey, honey, my frontline Lisi went to ASU. So this is funny. They're saying, well, I don't want him to go. I want him to go somewhere besides ASU. Some people call ASU college degree factory or something. I forget what they call it, but it's a great college. So I disagree with that, but they want him somewhere besides ASU. CW1 responded, if you want USC, I have the game plan ready to go in motion. Call me to discuss. In an email on or about July 24, 2016, CW1 advised Gianelli that his older daughter's academic qualifications were at or just below the low end of USC's admission standards. Thereafter, the Gianellis agreed with CW1 to use bribes to facilitate her admission to USC as a recruited crew coxswain, even though she did not row competitively or otherwise participate in crew. On or about September 7, 2016, Gianelli sent CW1 an email attaching a photograph of his older daughter on an ergometer. So she's out showing how athletic she is. And then Heinel, that's the athletic director from U.S.C., presented Gianelli's daughter to the U.S.C. Subcommittee for Athletic Commissions as a purported crew member recruit on October 27, 2016. At the meeting, the subcommittee approved her conditional admission to the university. So you fake that you're on the crew, the rowing team. You fake that you're football kicker, whatever it is that you're faking, and then you get approved. So 2 days later, on or about October 29, 2016, CW1 emailed Gianelli, please send $50K payment to the person below. Donna Heinel, Senior Women's Associate Athletic Director, care of USC Athletics. So, again, I'm not sure how the payments got there, but I'll leave that to you and the prosecutors. On or about November 1st, 2016, Gianelli replied, I told biz manager to FedEx today. Gianelli also asked CW1 whether it was permissible to discuss his daughter's admission with the then USC athletic director with whom he was acquainted. Gianelli wrote, by the way, headed to Augusta in 2 weeks with the USC athletic director. I was planning on saying nothing. Agree or okay to mention anything? CW1 replied, best to keep the USC athletic director out of it. When I met with him a year ago about your daughter, he felt you were good for $1 million plus. Gianelli responded, ha! On or about November 28, 2016, CW1 sent Gianelli confirmation that his daughter had been provisionally admitted to USC based upon records that indicate that you have the potential to make a significant contribution to the intercollegiate athletic program. CW1 wrote, FYI attaches the letter you can hold on to. As long as your daughter does what she is doing, all is good. On or about May 23, 2016, USC mailed Gianelli's daughter her formal acceptance letter. 1 week later, Masira sent Gianellis an invoice from KWF for $200,000 and wrote, thank you for your pledge to the Key Worldwide Foundation. Your pledge is now due. 501c3 actually is tax deductible, right? So there may be some issues with that as well. Your pledge is now due. Our receipt letter will go out to you upon full payment. Gianelli responded, again, thanks for all. We are currently on holiday in the Bahamas, but we'll gladly handle this when we get home next week. So on or about April 10th, 2017, Gianelli wired $200,000 to KWF. The following day, an employee of CW1 sent the Gianellis a receipt from KWF, falsely indicating that no goods or services were exchanged for the purported donation. So I'm not going to go on to the rest of this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. Part of the reason, allegation number 213, according to CW1, the counselor did not believe that either of the Gianelli's daughters participated in crew and was concerned that their applications may have contained misleading information. So, you know, part of the problem is the high school, and I don't know how that factored in, but high school counselor thought there was an issue. I mean, just, you know, incredible. So I'm not going to go into any more of that. That's about all I want you to know about that. It tells you a little bit about this case, and, you know, as I like to say, hey, just do it the right way. Just do it the right way. Work your you know what? Work hard, 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 hard. Stay focused. Do it the right way. You'll get there. You'll get where you're supposed to be. Okay? It doesn't matter. You don't have to go to UCLA. You don't have to go to Stanford or Yale or Georgetown. There's a lot of other colleges. And at the end of the day, it's you that's going to make your future great. Yes, the colleges can help. Yes, I agree with all that. Yes, try to get into the best one you can. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you whether you make it or not in life and to what extent you make it. So that's it. If you watch this long, that's probably longer than anybody should be watching one of my videos. I'm going to cut it short here, but if you somehow feel that you have any facts that tie into this somehow, that you can prove somehow you were jaded and damaged, hey, we're willing to take a look at your case. We're licensed in California and Arizona. So let us know if one of these schools is at issue with you. Otherwise, if not, hey, you learned something new today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like our videos, come on, give me that thumbs up. Keeps us going. And, you know, what other attorney or law firm is bringing you this great information? So we look forward to working with you. If not, feel free to share our videos. Have a good time and continue to learn. And some of this education is free. You don't even need a great school. You just go to attorneysteve.com. All right, I got to get out of here. My wife wants to go to dinner. Have a great day, y'all.